No matter what anybody tells you, words and ideas can change the world.
I'm interested in one thing, Neil, the future. And believe me, I know the only way to get there is together.
What we've got here is failure to communicate.
You may think you know what you're dealing with, but believe me, you don't.
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
For centuries, philosophers have used the dialogue to search for truth, because it's through conversation, through the Logos, that we find it. This is the Dialogue, where ancient philosophy, history, and theology meet modern life. Together, we'll wrestle with big questions and give our answers through the way we live. Let's start the conversation.
I don't think blame is ever
Right.
the answer.
And if
right?
you spend too much time fixated on why, you blame. Like
Right.
I was talking to a friend of ours today, actually, and he was asking me, he's in this, he's having some kind of conversation with an atheist. And this atheist is like, you know, that's great that you believe in God and you believe God blesses you and, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I can't believe in a God who allows like rape to happen, slavery to happen, all this
Right.
bad stuff to happen. And, so that what that person's looking for is someone to blame for human problems.
Right.
All those problems are created by human beings.
Right.
He's not talking about natural disasters.
Right.
He's not talking
Yeah.
about acts of God. He's talking about things that people do to other people.
Right.
So my conversation with our friend was, you know, it's kind of an adversarial discussion. So I don't really necessarily have those with people. Like it's like our podcast. I don't want to have debates. You know, I want to have actual dialogue where people are open to hear.
Yeah, they're open to ideas.
Saying that statement means I'm really not open to the idea of God, but it's cool that you as a small-minded person believe in that.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm like higher minded. So my number one question to people that say that kind of stuff is, okay, I get it. There's all these problems in the world. You feel like God's not fixing them. I'd like to know what you're doing about them.
Well, I would ask them, where did
Right.
you get the idea that God shouldn't allow any of those?
Yeah. Well, I think the first question is, you've identified problems.
Right.
What are you doing to fix them? Well, I don't do anything about slavery. I don't do anything about kids
Right.
being mistreated. But you know, someone should, right? So it's moralizing and like grandstanding for me to say there's all these problems in the world that God should be fixing, but I'm the one that's living here,
Right.
having to watch this happen.
Yeah.
Right. But the second thing to me is looking at human problems. So when you believe in God and you believe in, like, let's say biblical Christianity or Christian ethic, what comes with that is the understanding that the problem of evil in the world is people. It's
Right.
not the devil.
Right.
It's not a bunch of other stuff. Jeremiah 17 says the human heart is desperately wicked. So there's a solution to that evil, right? There's a cause for that evil, which is us. The cause is not the solution. The cause is not, or the solution is not, well, we committed original sin as human beings, so now we should stop sinning.
Right.
The solution is Jesus.
Right.
The solution is Jesus came. He wants to transform your heart. He wants to change who you are as a person from the inside out. So if more people, and this is what I was saying to our friend, if more people had a relationship with God and followed Jesus, the world would be less evil.
Yeah, big time.
And so much of, like, the world's much better now than it was even 200 years ago or 1,000 years ago, right? We're moving in the right direction. And a lot of moving in the right direction has to do with the advancement of the Christian ethic in the world. Whether
Yeah.
someone wants to disagree with that or not, it's just reality, right? Slavery was ended by Christians. Christianity and the church throughout the history of the world has done more for social services and helping people than any other entity that's ever existed. That's like beyond,
Yeah.
to even debate that is like beyond proof. It's so that's the thing about Christianity, is this idea that, okay, there's evil in the world, there's problems of evil, God's the solution to that. And the more we lean into God, the less evil we can become on
Right.
this side of eternity. Well, if you're an atheist and you see what people do as evil, we've now agreed, like, if you're an atheist, I'm not.
Yeah.
We agree that people are evil and do evil things to each other.
Right.
The problem is I have a solution to that. You don't.
Well, and you have to ask
Right.
somebody, if you don't believe in any God, like, what makes that evil?
Yeah.
Because surely there has to be somebody that defines what's
Yeah.
just and right.
And it's on both sides of that equation, because on one hand you think that God is going to, God, if he does exist, is going to subscribe to your morality.
Yeah. Yeah. And
Right?
that's really what it is. It's self-exaltation.
On the other hand, in your mind, God doesn't exist. So what's the fix for the evil in the world? Where there just is no fix. There's no way for us to fix it. It's just a crappy, horrible world that we live in. Well, I can't subscribe to that.
Unless they catch you in that 1 week, whenever that comes in, where you're already in that state.
Well, that's probably what would help me pull out of it is dealing with an idiot.
So what we need to do
dealing
next
with-
time you're in a funk, dude, just send me a text like 911. I'll send an idiot to your house.
Send me like a person who wants to
debate.
foolishly debate things.
Dude,
right?
I'll be that's me being your friend.
Yeah, send me a person who wants to debate why we should be nihilists, and then I'll go, you know what?
Like, I don't have time to be in this
I
state.
don't have time to be this way. We got to get on the positive side.
Yeah, we just solved your problem. How to snap you out of it.
But that's what, to me, that's what like philosophy is.
Right.
Is me sitting there with myself and discussing with myself. And it's not like a discussion in terms of logic.
No, but you're reasoning. Yeah.
Me reasoning with myself about how unreasonable I am being.
Right.
And taking the time to be able to do that and having people around me, honestly, that understand that. Like Courtney with me, you know, what I told her this week, because I just kind of had some of that happen this week in my own life. And she said this to me this week, which I feel like was an amazing gift to me. And that's like, she's like, well, I'd prefer that you just wouldn't say anything to me at all. And you just work through that and let me know you're working through that rather than you ever be like mean or negative towards the family. And I've never been that way, like towards my family.
Yeah.
But because my thing in talking to her was like, yeah, I've had this deal and I've tried really hard. You know, I said, I don't want that to affect our relationship because I'm more real with Courtney than I'm going to be with my kids.
Oh yeah,
right.
Obviously, yeah.
I don't want that to affect our relationship. I've tried really hard not to come across any of this way to our kids, but I've just had to deal with this week.
Yeah.
And so when we went to dinner last night, she was like, you know, it's fine. Like I don't take that personal. We've been married for 12 years or almost 12 years. I don't take that personal. And I'd rather you just be quiet and be disengaged than, because I'm like sitting there, I'm telling her, you know it doesn't make sense, but I'm like internally navigating this conversation.
Yeah.
And I don't have a lot of energy for anything else. And she's like, well, that's okay. But the truth is it's only okay as much as I'm willing to be healthy.
Right.
Right. And so I can't stay there. And that's the thing is I have to give myself really enough mental time and space to be able to navigate my way through that. And now I've spent a lot of my life developing the tools that give me the ability to have a conversation with myself and fix it. Because I know too much. The problem with like getting leadership and being in rooms of development, like the problem of even like Christianity, for instance, like people come to church, they hear all the Bible, they know everything there is to know. And the problem with that is you can just decide to not access any of that.
Right. You have the burden of knowledge. You can't say I didn't know.
Can't say I don't know.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't really care. So for me, someone coming in and telling me, hey, here's what you need to do. You need to get more positive, or here's the playbook, or here's how you get out of this. I'm like, you know what? I don't need you to talk to me right now. I know all that stuff already.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for your help. So the only person that can navigate me out of that is, well, me and God.
Yeah,
right?
but I think you touched on like that. You said I don't care. And I think we can maybe start to head for home here, but like clearly you care enough to not put it on your kids and your wife. And so that level of careness, as your dad would say, is what kind of keeps you aware of it, right? Yeah. Because I think that's where the I think like if you were on your own, like imagine you didn't have a wife and kids and like you were just left to your own devices. So I think it's so dangerous for people to be able to just isolate themselves and live in their own little bubble and you know whatever they think is unchallenged. That's a really dangerous place to be. And I think like self-awareness, like I said, I think it's a skill that's highly underrated. And the more you get aware of like your emotions being indicators, right? Like you talked about, you know that those things are coming around because it's like you talked about how other people, it's like they'll have an internal monologue with themselves and they'll just be like, man, that really made me mad. Or like, you know, the story will stop like this. Man, this guy did this thing today, made me so mad. And you're like, really? And so like I tell my kids, I'm like, no one can make you mad. You know, what? No, you because of the way you think, you've assigned, like you said, you've assigned some value to this that has generated that emotion.
Well, it's like Zig Ziglar said, don't be a wondering generality, be a meaningful specific.
I haven't heard that. I like that.
So most people live their life in their wondering generalities.
Right.
Right. And what I mean by that is they don't mean anything specific to anybody and they don't want to.
Right.
Right. Like, so they don't get married, they don't have kids, they don't have any form of responsibility, they don't serve anybody, they don't make their life about anybody except themselves. And then they wonder why they don't have any meaning and purpose, right? So the thing that, and that this is like a lot of the conversation I have with myself when I enter this state is like, you don't have the luxury to be this way.
Right.
So yeah. Man, you got to deal with your crap. And this is it was way worse when I was younger, way worse, so now it's like, you got to deal with this, man, because you have responsibilities. Like you have people that you're counting on. Like, I know this is, I want to be sensitive to even myself.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, your wife's taking care of 2 twins that are just born. They're 6 weeks old. You have all this responsibility with your kids. You can't just lay in bed.
Yeah.
You got 15 coaching calls you got to have this week. You got all this stuff that's going on. You got to preach. You got to do this. You got to do that. So
buck up.
You can do it. I mean, I love what Jim Rohn said too. He said, do it. You do it easy or do it hard. Just get it done.
Yeah.
So for me, I go, okay, well, we'll get healthy on the way.
Right.
Like, because I can't, if you understand the dynamic of having responsibility, which I think most people don't, especially in the Western world, man, when people really talk about struggling with this stuff, like, again, I navigate it.
Yeah.
Right. I have to deal with it in my own life, but I'm not giving myself permission to be depressed. And it's not that I don't believe in that. It's just what a great first world problem to have.
Dude, it really is.
Right. That you can sit here and be like, woe is me. And you can spend all this time thinking about yourself.
Yeah.
And no time thinking about anybody else. And I know that's insensitive to people that struggle with
100%
like
true.
mental health things and stuff like that. And there's real biology and chemistry and all of that. But what transcends, and to me personally, what transcends all of that is how you decide to think.
Yeah.
And what I always tell people that are like, man, I'm just struggling with this or I'm struggling with that, is you need to get a lot more responsibility. You need to find a way to be more meaningful. And the way to be more meaningful is to figure out who you need to go add value to.
Right.
Like, you need to go on a missions trip. Like, for me, people that I've known that really go, I'm just struggling, I'm in a depressed time. The number one thing I see is all they're thinking about is themselves.
Yep. Big time.
Right. So, hey, what I want you to do is I want you to schedule a missions trip to Nigeria, or I want you to go to Uganda, or I want you to go to China, or I want you to go somewhere where you can see what people deal with, or go to anywhere in America, go to Skid Row in America, go see what people deal with that don't have the luxury of being depressed.
Yeah. And
then come back and let me know about your depression.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's outliers to that. I'm not a trained psychologist. Dr. Brittany would probably be like, hey, wait, hang on, just a second,
but dude, what you're talking about though, man, is ownership. And I do think it's perspective. Like, if you, because like you're saying, in like 1700s, where it was like, hey, what are you gonna do today? I'm gonna survive. Not many people were going like, you know what? I just don't know if this really matters to me anymore. Because now we have like survival's assumed, and we have the comfort, like what we said. But like, when I remember there was this moment, it's so funny because like my friend who did this has completely forgotten about it. But for me, it's like a defining moment in my life. So I was depressed and like alcohol dependent. I say alcohol dependent because the only time I felt anything was when I drank, which was why I drank. Which, like, I remember, man, I remember being so relieved. I'm like, oh, it's just nice to feel. Like, that was a real thought I had. It feels like a whole nother person, man, to think about that. This was in my 20s. Maybe I'll join you in the whole 20s suck train.
Hey,
but
man, we're not there anymore. We're not in our 20s. It's in the past.
Praise the Lord. But so I remember I'd been down, and like not a lot of people, like I don't think Rian realized how bad it was. As a matter of fact, I know she didn't. And not a lot of people really knew, because like in England, you don't really talk about stuff. Like, you just, stiff upper lip, just shove it down there. It'll be all right. And so like I remember my buddy, like I talked to him a little bit about just how just down I was. So he got me this pamphlet on depression. And he gave it to me, and it was like a caring thing to do. It's like one of my best friends over there, and he's a guy that I'm still close with over there. And I remember I read through this pamphlet, dude, and Josh, it was all on offer for me. Come in, like, and the language in the pamphlet was so like you have a disease. It was like I caught depression at the county fair, and like what I realized,
I'm depressed reading this.
But dude, but think about what a lucid thought this is. Yeah. I'm depressed, bro. I don't feel anything. And like, I'm focused on myself. Everything you just said, that was me. Like the missions trip, I probably needed that, man. Because I just tried to fill up my own cup. Like, oh, I need to drink to make myself feel something, because that's going to make me feel. It's just such a, praise the Lord, I've married such an amazing wife to put up with that. But I remember reading this pamphlet, dude. And even though I was really jacked up, I had such a moment of clarity to be like, if I do what this pamphlet's telling me and I go into this clinic or wherever they were saying I could go, I'm basically handing off all the ownership, because what I was really clear on, they were basically going to come in and say, hey, you can't help this. Like, this is a really tough thing. You have this disease. We're going to give you some stuff, but like, this isn't your fault. Like, it was so caring and nurturing of the wrong things. And I remember I read it, and I'm praise God that this was definitely God kind of going, okay, he's mine. I'm going to protect him. Like, I can't put it down to anything else. But dude, I remember in that moment, I was like, I can't go down that, because if I go down that road, I can't come back. Yeah. That's honestly how I felt. And I was so clear about it, man. I mean, like, I get chills talking about it, because it was like a defining moment in my life.
Well, my dad's always said, whatever you blame controls you, you know, and that sounds bad, but a lot of people prefer to be controlled by what they can't control, right? So when you're told you have this issue and it's not really your fault, well, the great news is it's not your responsibility to fix either.
Yeah, it's the easy way out, man.
Right? So it's not your fault, which means the fix is not your responsibility. What we need to do, and this is like, this happens in all kinds of different rooms. Like, this happens whenever people go, well, I was raised by a narcissist, which has become
100%.
like a really normal thing to talk about. Everyone's a narcissist.
Yeah.
You know, every parent that millennials had was a narcissist, right? They're just awful.
Right.
And that's the reason why.
Just blame your parents.
Yeah,
dude.
that's the reason why I'm irresponsible and I'm a mess and I have really
I have a
bad
gambling
emotions.
problem because my parents were narcissists.
Yeah, my parents were narcissists,
Yeah.
right? And well, the great news about figuring out whose fault it is that you're not responsible to fix it. So, hey, just go no contact with your parents. That'll fix your life.
Yeah, definitely.
Right? Just cut out anybody who hurts your feelings.
Toxic people, Josh.
Yeah, because guess what? Your feelings aren't your fault. And whenever it's not your fault, it's not your responsibility either.
Yeah.
So fault and responsibility always go hand in hand.
Yeah.
So if I sit there, and this is like ultimately my conversation, that's what self-awareness, I think people don't want to be self-aware. I think that's like fundamentally at the end of the day, as an adult, you've been given many opportunities to become self-aware and you just not taken them, because subconsciously, I think the problem with self-awareness is you now have to realize how much of your life is your fault.
Yeah, you got to do something about it.
And how much of it is also your responsibility.
Right.
So people, what's crazy to me, man, is people would prefer to be powerless than to be powerful.
Huh.
And what I mean by that is whatever I blame controls me, right?
Yeah.
So whatever I blame has all the power in my life.
Yeah.
What most people would prefer to do is blame everything in their life on something they couldn't control, on external situations, on their parents, on the boss, on the whatever, on the culture, on the economy, on all that. And so the great news is that, or I guess the good news of that is that when you do that, the only way to get change to happen is if circumstances completely change that you also can't control.
Maybe you'll get lucky.
But hey, man, you're powerless, so you just have to sit here and
dude,
life sucks. But then on the other hand, okay, so on the other hand, when you go, you know what, it's my fault, then you go, oh, it's my responsibility. So I look at my life and I go, well, I'm my fault.
Right.
What I mean by that is my state of being, like how I am and whatever the causes are, whatever the dynamics are, whatever the blame could be, I'm going to do as much as I can to take as much responsibility for myself.
Yeah.
So that I can work on the fixing it.
Yeah, it doesn't work any other way.
Because so I would rather sit there, and that's where I'm saying, like, going and finding blame and fixing fault and figuring out why it matters to an extent, but for me personally, it doesn't matter a lot, because the more a person does that, the more they're getting on the side of I can't control this.
Yeah, and you're right though. I mean, I think just that kind of sheds light on it, because for me, what's interesting is that we. I think about these from the macro level, because what I find so fascinating about human beings is we're so conditionable. Yep. And so from a young age, like I don't know, this is maybe God's 1% in me. I've always been conscious of what's being developed in me that wasn't meant to be developed in me. So like, for example, I grew up in a house, right? My parents tell me everything to do. Okay, great. Just listen to your parents. That's how you have a good life. Go to school, do what they tell you. That's how you have a good life. Then when you get 18, suddenly it's like, you can do whatever you want. You're like, wait, what? You've had 18 years of people telling you, like, if your parents haven't raised you to be independent, or you don't have some strong, like, natural obstinance in you, or, you know, whatever, call it whatever, or you haven't been exposed to people who have helped you with that, maybe you'll go to college. Why? Because once again, you get told what to do. Well, then when you get out, man, I need a job to tell me what to do. And like, I don't think people realize how much they're conditioned that way. And so we have these thought processes. I was listening to one today talking about people who have gambling addict on another podcast that I enjoy. And he was like, it's through no fault of their own. And I'm like, dude, through every fault of their own. Because like you said, it doesn't matter if someone brought them up and said, like, let's say like undeniably, you could say this was 100% my parents' fault. The answer is still the same. Like you said, until you decide to take ownership of what you have, it doesn't change.
Yeah, because the question is this the life you want?
Yeah. Well,
Like,
yeah, that's, I mean,
you know what I'm
that's,
saying? I mean, you get this one shot, bro. Like you get this. Like this is your one, well, maybe not your one marriage, but for me, it's one marriage, right? Like this is your one go round.
Yeah.
And this is how you want it to be, is that you live that out, not fixing anything, not helping anything move forward, just being a victim of circumstance. And that's why God created you, to put you on the earth so you could be victimized by life and then hopefully go to heaven and have all your trauma healed. I just can't, that at the end of the day, for me, I can't subscribe to that. I can't look at my life and go, this is just it and everything's garbage and it all sucks. It's like, no, like I have responsibilities. I have things that I've taken on, but I also can live a great life.
Yeah.
And that's, go back to the Zig quote, right? I'm not going to be a wandering generality. I'm going to try my best to become a meaningful specific. And you go, you know what? The reason why, no matter how I feel about myself, right? And that's what you're saying. And that's what you're saying about your own life. I think probably if you had had kids, right, back when you were dealing with that, you wouldn't have been in that zone.
Way different. Yeah, because kids are more selfish than anybody. Yeah. That's what's great about kids. it's just the truth. I always think for selfish people, have a kid because they're the only kids are the only people that'll be more selfish than you, and you need it.
Yeah,
you need someone to overpower you.
So the thing is, what's helped me deal with that is having responsibilities.
Yeah,
is going. You know what? I can't. If I'm going to be a good dad and not cause damage to my kids.
Yeah.
That they would have to deal with, I can't be this way. And I have to deal with that, not like push it down. I have to deal with it and learn to solve the problems, learn to navigate through the dynamic, even if it keeps coming up over and over again in my life, because that's the testimony. Like one day when my kids are older and they struggle with stuff, or as they grow, it's like them. I'll be able to say, look, man, I've struggled with the same kind of stuff. Yeah. I've had to navigate the same kind of things. And have you... And the opportunity, hopefully, that I get to have with them is to tell them, hey, have you ever seen me project that on everybody?
Yeah.
Like, here's what I've carried. Here's what I've had to navigate. Like once they're at a maturity level where we can have that conversation. Have you ever seen me just blow up my life because of all the crap that was happening? No, we don't do that.
Right.
The way that we roll is we know how important we are to other people's health, to the state of the earth. We know how much power we have within ourselves to determine our experience. And even, to me, man, honestly, even if none of what I'm saying is true and we're all just victims of circumstance,
no, dude,
I would prefer to be delusional. Like I would prefer to be a delusional person who thinks that I really can control myself than live on the side of life that's like, you know what? It's just, you're just SOL, man. It just sucks. It's all bad. It's all awful. Just forget about the whole thing.
Yeah.
And when we choose to fall victim to circumstance, right? We give our responsibility away, and responsibility can be a heavy weight to carry for a lot of
We give our
different
power
reasons.
away. Yeah.
Yeah. But when you give responsibility away, you also give power away.
Yeah.
And that's what comes with it.
Thank you for listening to the dialogue. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. And also, if you think someone else would enjoy this, please send it to them. If you want to get in touch or learn more about me, what I think, speak, and write, you can go to joshuacraft.com, or you can also follow Nick and I on Instagram. Our handles are in the show notes. We'll see you next time.